This is part 4 of the Chapter 3 lectures. What we're doing is going over the organelles inside of our cells, and we are now on peroxisomes. So lysosomes contain digestive enzymes. That was on the previous page. Lysosomes can function in cleanup and recycling of materials, removing damaged organelles. Also, what we call apoptosis, where cells are programmed to die whenever they don't function, whenever there's something wrong with them. So that process in lysosomes, the process that lysosomes, or the role that lysosomes play, is called autolysis, which means self-destruction. Peroxisomes also help break down, but primarily they're involved with the breakdown of fatty acids. Mitochondria are the organelles that carry out cellular respiration, and they form ATP. They produce 95% of the ATP required by the cell for energy. We often call mitochondria the powerhouse of the cell. Okay, number 14, describe the difference between the cytoplasm and the cytosol. Cytoplasm is everything between the plasma membrane and the nucleus, and the cytosol is only the fluid that's found within the cytoplasm. So the cytoplasm includes organelles, and the cytosol does not. Identify the membranous organelles and list their functions. Well, you would have to go back into the slides and do that. I can name a few of them. Membranous organelles would include the nucleus, which we've talked about but not really in detail. The nucleus is surrounded by a double membrane called the nuclear envelope. So we have the nucleus, the endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, lysosomes, peroxisomes, proteasomes, and that's probably a good list right there. Let's see. Cells lining the small intestine have numerous finger-like projections. These structures are called microvilli, and they function in increasing the surface area so that more nutrients can be absorbed. If we didn't have centrioles, the cell would not be able to divide. Centrioles, remember, are composed of microtubules, and they function in cell division. Certain cells in the ovaries and testes contain large amounts of smooth endoplasmic reticulum because smooth ER plays a role in producing steroid hormones, and those are produced in the ovaries and the testes. And the presence of many mitochondria means that the cell probably has a large energy requirement. Now to the nucleus, it's the control center of the cell. It does contain the DNA. It's surrounded by a nuclear envelope, and that nuclear envelope has pores that allow substances to move in and out of the nucleus. Here's a picture of it. The nuclear envelope, the cytoplasm inside the nucleus is just called nucleoplasm. The DNA in this particular nucleus is called chromatin because it is not condensed into the structures we know as chromosomes. It's very spread out. The nucleolus is also found inside the nucleus. So here's the nucleus, which is the large structure, and the nucleolus is a structure found inside of that actually produces ribosomes. Okay, nucleoli, because sometimes a nucleus will have more than one nucleolus, is going to produce ribosomes, ribosomal RNA, which are the building blocks for ribosomes. Inside the nucleus, you can find either DNA found in the form of chromosomes or in the form of chromatin. Chromosomes are very tightly coiled and condensed into those X shapes that we're used to seeing. They're actually rods that are connected in the middle, and they look like X, the letter X. Human body cells contain 23 pairs of chromosomes, but when the cell is not actively dividing, the DNA is found in the form called chromatin, which is very loosely coiled. You can see the coiling process here. What happens is DNA coils around histone proteins, and it's called a nucleosome when you have DNA wrapped around a histone protein. And then all of those nucleosomes coil and form chromatin, but chromatin is still very spread out, and that's what you see in a non-dividing cell. And then when the cell is ready to divide, the chromatin supercoils and forms these chromosomes, which, as you can see over here in this picture, that the chromosomes look like X, the letter X, because there are two rods that are connected in the center. Let's see, information storage is part of the function of the nucleus. So the information is stored in the base sequences found in our DNA. A piece of DNA that codes for a trait, we call that a functional unit of heredity, is called a gene. So a gene is a piece of DNA that codes for a trait. The contents and structure of the nucleus are going to be DNA, nucleoplasm, the nucleolus, and outside the nucleus you will have a nuclear envelope, which is a double membrane that contains pores. All right, protein synthesis, you will need to be familiar with this. Protein synthesis occurs in two stages. Transcription occurs in the nucleus, and that is when your DNA makes a copy of a gene in the form of RNA, and then translation occurs outside the nucleus on a ribosome, and that is when the RNA is translated into a chain of amino acids which form into a protein. So transcription is the production of messenger RNA, and that happens very similar to DNA replication. DNA uncoils, and a template strand of DNA is used to code for the nucleotides in the messenger RNA. I didn't ask a lot of questions on the steps of transcription, so I'm just going to tell you that the enzyme that forms the messenger RNA is called RNA polymerase. And you do need to know that RNA contains uracil instead of thymine. So DNA would contain the bases A, C, G, T, and RNA would contain the bases A, C, G, U. 3 bases in the messenger RNA are called a codon, and that codon will code for a particular amino acid that's going to be found in the protein. Okay, so let's look at a picture that shows you how transcription works. So the gene is just a piece of the DNA. It's not all the DNA all at once. This is the DNA, the gene that has been blown up for you so that you can see both strands, and you can see that the DNA contains the nitrogenous base T or thymine. So what happens in transcription is that the DNA unwinds, RNA polymerase comes in and adds the nucleotides that are complementary to the DNA. So here's your RNA polymerase, and what it's done is it's like this T is complementary to A. So the RNA polymerase adds an A, and then A is complementary to U instead of T because RNA has uracil instead of thymine. C is complementary to G, G is complementary to C, G is complementary to C. So the RNA polymerase just basically travels along the template DNA strand and adds the correct nucleotides in the correct sequence. And each group of 3 of those is called a codon, and it will code for a particular amino acid. But transcription is just the production of the messenger RNA strand that's going to leave the nucleus and then code for the protein. And so the next step in protein synthesis is translation. The messenger RNA leaves the nucleus and binds to a ribosome. And then transfer RNA delivers amino acids to the ribosome. So where messenger RNA contains triplet codons, transfer RNA contains triplet anticodons. And so This is how that kind of works. So you have a ribosome in the cytoplasm. You have your messenger RNA attached to it. And each group of 3, AUG is a codon. And here's a transfer RNA coming in with an anticodon that's complementary to the codon. So instead of AUG, it's UAC. And the next one is going to be complementary to CCG, and it's going to be GGC. So that is going to ensure that the correct amino acids get brought to the ribosome in the correct order to form the protein. And this is just a picture of the steps in translation, and I'll just show you in picture 4. The transfer RNA is bringing this UCG, which is the anticodon, to AGC. And number 3 is the amino acid that goes with the codon AGC. And so you can see that the amino acids are linked to each other in the correct order because of the codons and the anticodons. Codons from messenger RNA and the anticodons from transfer RNA. So how does the nucleus control the cell's activities? Through the DNA code. What process would be affected by the lack of RNA polymerase? Well, that would be bad. We wouldn't have transcription, and so we wouldn't make proteins that we need. During the process of transcription, a nucleotide was deleted from a messenger RNA sequence that coded for a protein. What effect would this deletion have on the amino acid sequence of the protein? Well, from that point on, all the amino acids would be different because let's say that this one was deleted here. Okay, if that was deleted, then the A would kind of move over into the place of the G. So this would now be CCA instead of CCG. And it's very possible that CCA codes for a different amino acid. And then after that, the next codon would be GCA, and the next one would be UGU. So it would shift the sequence of the nucleotides so that the codons would be completely different from that point on. And if the codons are different, the amino acids are different, and the amino acids are different, the protein is different. So, I mean, it could just be a disaster. All right, I think this is the last part, cell division. So, cell division is a form of cellular reproduction. One thing it does is increase the number of cells in the organism or the human. It also is used to replace old and damaged cells. And it requires, before a cell can divide, the DNA must replicate so that each new cell gets a copy. These are the stages of a cell's life cycle. All the stages in blue are part of interphase, which is when the cell is not actively dividing. And then all the stages in red are cell division. So that would involve mitosis and cytokinesis. And you definitely need to know the stages of mitosis: prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase, and be able to describe them. Mitosis is the nuclear division of body cells or somatic cells. Some cells divide rapidly, such as stem cells. And then some cells are programmed to self-destruct, like I talked to you about before. Apoptosis is programmed cell death. So mitosis is cell division of somatic cells. Meiosis is the cell division of sex cells, and that results in the production of sperm in males and ova or eggs in females. The period between cell divisions is called interphase. This is where the cell spends most of its life. G1 is the phase when the cell duplicates its organelles. S is when the DNA is replicated, and G2 is when the centrioles are replicated and protein synthesis continues. DNA replication is a process where the DNA unwinds, and then DNA polymerase adds the complementary nucleotides to form a new strand of DNA.